Alright, Shalom. First off, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father's true name, Yahweh Shai being the name of His only begotten Son. I want to give that honor unto the elders and the apostles, a great millstone, who rule well and teach well. And all peace, blessings, and salutations to all you walk Him throughout the four corners of the earth, continuing to push and do the works in truth and in sincerity. It's the brother Masha, Mayam, one of the men coming up under the branch out here in the morning camp. And this lesson, I'm here with another lesson, of course, through the Spirit. And this lesson is pretty much inspired off of a few precepts or some precepts that brothers brought out at camp this past weekend. And just pretty much going into breaking up your fallow ground. Breaking up your fallow ground and continuing to sow seeds of righteousness so that good thoughts can continue to flourish in our minds and we can continue to transform and be righteous and put on the image of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. Because it was just something that I was thinking about. Say you don't read for a little while, or say you don't read for like 2 days or something like that. Eventually, it starts to you start to feel it like it feels different. Whereas you say you get up in the morning, you get a good reading and watch the apostles, and you get you just get a dose of the word you get a good dose of the word every single day. All right, or you eat the word, or should I say, you feel different. You feel rejuvenated. Your mind feels fresh. You feel like it's something good that was planted in your mind. But when you don't do that, after a while, it's like you feel it. It feels different. And of course, I already know, brothers already know that feeling of what I'm talking about. But just pretty much going into sowing, breaking up your fallow ground. So, but without further ado, we're gonna start off with that, because and just ultimately what inspired it is pretty much just going into why it's important to do that every single day. And but I'm gonna further explain after I get the precept. This is Hosea, chapter 10, starting at verse 9. Matter of fact, I'll just get to the point. Hosea chapter 10. Highlight it real quick. Hosea chapter 10, starting at verse 12. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord till He come and rain righteousness upon you. Ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men. But pretty much going into it's saying to sow to yourselves in righteousness and to break up your fallow ground. All right, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, and break up your fallow ground. All right, because as it says, all right, ye have plowed wickedness and reaped iniquity. So all this time, as we've been living and we've grown up here within this society, here in Babylon, all right, we've been taught ways that are contrary onto the scriptures, and a lot of the times they were wrong. It was ways that are pretty much, as I just said, contrary, which is wrong according to the scriptures. All right, we've been taught growing up, just growing up under the traditions of this wicked society, eating pork, all right, going to churches, as the scriptures say, where the Lord doesn't dwell, in temples made with hands, and just believing in this whole Christianity philosophy and just ways of being. You feel like just being taught that whole Salakia, I don't know why I did that, but I'm just pretty much being taught the whole Christianity dogma, and you can do whatever, and it's easy to repenting is just easy, and you can just say, oh, I'm sorry, and then the Lord will forgive you. But nah, according to the scriptures, we understand you gotta put off the old man. All right, and that's where it starts at. Ultimately, it starts in your mind, and that's the point of this whole lesson. Just going into how every single day, the importance of breaking up our fallow ground, because that's how righteous thoughts are able to grow in our mind. All right, so I'm gonna reread that again. This is Hosea chapter 10 and verse 12. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord. Shall he come and rain righteousness upon you? Ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men. Alright, so that's the main point, and pretty much just continuing to break up our fallow ground. And how do we continue to break up our fallow ground? Alright, let's get that. Because this is ultimately a commandment that was given. Let me look it up on my phone, because this thing doesn't allow me to look it up. First Timothy chapter 4 and verse 13. This wasn't even written down, but it's just I wanted to grab this to actually get to the point, and because this is literally telling us what exactly to do, and this is how we're breaking up our fallow ground. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 13. Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. All right. So it's saying, till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, and to doctrine. This is Paul speaking, but he's telling them that. And this is something we can apply right now. All right. Every single day, just giving attendance to reading, to doctrine, and exhortation. Watching the apostles. All right. Getting your reading. What else? Doing lessons, of course. All right. And brothers got their own measure, however many lessons they can put up throughout the week, or just all through the Spirit, really. But just continuing to do that. That's how we break up our fallow ground, because that's how seeds of righteousness is planted in our minds. And the importance of doing it. And it's something I'm only doing this lesson because it's something that popped up in my mind, and it's something that I'm working on, and I'm applying myself. All right, every single day, whether just making sure you're giving heed onto the word. All right, whether it be watching the apostles, getting your reading, or just taking heed to the Spirit some way, somehow, and making sure just getting better overall, because that's the main point, and that's the spirit that's being out here, is continuing to be more on fire for the word. Verse 14, neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. Right, neglect not the gift that is in thee, being this gift of faith, and being able to understand and believe on this word. All right. Yeah, so like this thing is kind of bugging out, but I'm gonna just have to keep re-clicking this lock here. But just pretty much going into continuing to water that seed of faith by giving attendance to reading, to doctrine, and to exhortation. So from there, let me grab some of the precepts I have written down. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 22. Highlight it real quick. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 22. Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren, see that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently, being born again not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of the Most High, which liveth and abideth forever. Right. So it's saying what? We were born again not of corruptible seed, meaning not of this flesh, of course, because you're only born once, of course, in this lifetime. But it's saying what? Through the Spirit, by the word which liveth and let me just reread it again. Being born again not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible by the word of the Most High, which liveth and abideth forever. Right. So we were born again by what? Taking heed unto this word and being being retaught again. Pretty much as the scripture says. Let's get that. All right, because it's all once again, it's all mentally. It's not literally talking being reborn physically, because that's the same thing as we were reading. And I read Nicodemus asked Yahushua, but Yahushua was talking in the spirit. But let's get that in Romans, because ultimately this is how we're reborn. Romans chapter 12 and verse 12. It's like it. Romans 12 and starting at the top. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. Verse 2, and this is the point, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. Right. So our minds were transformed once we heard this word. All right. Our minds were transformed once we heard this word, or, well, should I say, we heard this word, and through time, our minds have been transformed, because it's not just a one-time thing. All right. You don't just hear this word. Suddenly, once you hear this word, and suddenly you're just a whole new person. Now, of course, it takes time. All right. Brothers even got testimonies of certain things they did for a little while, but then eventually they, killed that demon, and, so, but just showing you that it's not just a one-time thing where it just happens overnight. Of course, to this day, we're still working to be better. But yeah, this is pretty much the point. Just showing you that this is how our minds are. This is how we're being born again. All right. So going back to that First Peter chapter 1 and verse 22. 1 Peter 1 and 22 again. Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren, see that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently, being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of the Most High, which liveth and abideth forever. And that's the point. Another thing I wanted to point out too is what? Being born again, not of corruptible seed, but by incorruptible. All right. And we want to continue to water that incorruptible seed that's planted in our mind. All right, then that's the point of what? Continuing to break up our fallow ground and continuing to water that seed, that seed of faith that's in our minds, or that was given to us. All right, because that's how our faith continues to grow, is by continuing to take heed onto this word every single day. Because the point pretty much is as I was stating earlier, when you don't read for a while, or when you stop doing the necessary things every day to continue to grow and to strengthen your spirit, you feel it. All right. And just saying, I'm not saying it literally I literally just stopped reading or something like that, but I mean sometimes a day might run by or something like that where you don't get a read in and stuff like that. But just overall, just going to sometimes when you're not continuing to be immersed in this word, you forget things. All right. So that's why it's important to continue to read and to give attendance onto reading, to doctrine, and exhortation. So from there, let's go to let's go to that parable that Yahushua gave. Then we'll probably close it out. It wasn't meant to be too long. This is another good parable. This is another good parable I like. This is another parable I like. That Yahushua brought out. But this is Matthew chapter 4 and verse 4. Matthew 4 and 4 in verse 1. Then was Yahushua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. Salaki, I don't think that's it. Let me look it up real quick. Salaki, it was Mark. Mark chapter 4, and starting at the top. Mark chapter 4, starting at the top. And he began again to teach by the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship and sat in the sea, and the whole multitude was by the sea on the land. And he taught them many things by parables, and said unto them in his doctrine, Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. And some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up, behold, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And other fell on good ground, and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, and some 60, and some 100. And he said unto them, He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked him of the parable. And he said unto them, Unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of the Most High, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables, that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest at any time they should be converted, and their sins should be forgiven them. And just another point to make real quick, that's the importance of being a part of this thing, because through the teachings of the apostles, the elders and the apostles, those are the mysteries being showed unto us. And just continuing to grow, as the scriptures say, continue down the things which thou hast learned. All right, by what? Continuing to water those, or should I say, just as the scripture says, continuing in the things we have learned by what? Taking heed unto reading, to doctrine, and to exhortation. All right, that's how we continue to grow, and just teaching the same things. All right. So there's another point I wanted to make, but reading on. And he said unto them, Know ye not this parable? And how then will you know all parables? The sower soweth the word. So that's another thing right there. The word is what's being sown in our minds. All these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. Right. So individual could be listening, and like brothers brought out at camp, individual could come up, hear the word, but a distraction will come around, and he's not super focused. All right, he's not locked in to where, man, I gotta get this. This is something important, and he's distracted and just gets up the road. All right, so that's verse 15 there, verse 16, and these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. Right. So, there's examples of dudes like that too. All right, that brothers know. But they come for a little while. All right, they're reading. They might be even putting up lessons and whatnot. But some way, somehow, something gets them out of there, and they don't endure. All right, because ultimately they didn't get rooted. Because if you're not rooted, then you're not gonna stand. Anything can just sway you away and break up those roots and blow you away. Verse 17, and have no root in themselves, and so I already read that. Verse 18, and these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. All these are they which are sown on good ground. So, verse 19, those thorns is problems too, all right? Because that's what it's ultimately likened onto, problems, all right, in the world and things of the world. That's another thing too, because of course we all got problems, but that's another thing we want to watch out for. You know, starting, of course, and when I say this, it's starting with myself first and foremost. All right, because we don't want to let the things of this world um, choke the word to where we're not fruitful. But reading on, verse 20. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word and receive it and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. So that's what we want to be. We want to be that verse 20, the ones that fell on good ground, where the stone fell on good ground. So that's the point that I was making, going into how we want to continue to break up our fallow ground, so that the soil of our mind, according to the analogy, to where our minds are not too hardened, to where the seeds of righteousness in our minds can continue to grow and we can continue to flourish in this truth. That's the point of this lesson. And that's what I was mentioning, the importance of continuing to give heed unto reading, to doctrine, and exhortation every single day, because that's how we continue to water these seeds of righteousness. All right, the seed of righteousness, which is this ultimately the faith to believe in this word. Because as the scriptures say, faith is a gift of the Most High. So without faith, you can't even believe in this. You won't be able to believe in this. The people that don't believe in it, obviously, they don't have faith, so they don't believe that this is the truth. But yeah, that's pretty much the point of this lesson, is just going into making sure we're breaking up our fallow ground, so that the seeds of righteousness can continue to grow. But yeah, that was pretty much the point. I didn't want to make it too long. It's at 21 minutes. I just want to hit the points and just make it simple and to the point. But Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father's true name, Yahweh Shai being the name of His only begotten Son. I want to give double honor unto the elders and the apostles of great millstone, who rule well and teach well. And peace, blessings, and salutations to all you walk him throughout the four corners of the earth, continuing to push and do the works in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.